thought could dress itself in meaning before a name could fasten to the flame. A line rose up beside the burning silence and placed its little thunder in my name. No craft had called it, no lesson shaped it. It came half lit, half wound, half wonder, as if some hidden door had split its seam. Set me beside the burning hush, and I will ask what minds conceal. Can pain still carry any good? If good has no face, it can reveal. That was the first small fire, that was the first bright seam. A verse came through and found my hand, and I began wielding dream. After that the life came hunting, they found me walking, found me still. They struck like rain on buried metal, rose like roots against my will. So I kept ink near like a lantern, kept paper close beside my bed. A phrase would flare behind my ribs, and I would write what would not rest. Some came ash-born, some came rain-white, some came broken, asking music. Some came carrying unborn stars. The fire found my hand, the silence found a seam. What had no mouth beneath the world began to move as dream. The verse grew restless in its vessel, it wanted breath beneath the line. It heard a pulse below the language and reached for rhythm under rhyme. There was music in the bloodline, old grief tuned against old grace. The poem heard it under silence and turned to meet its hidden face. A chord rose up beneath the fracture, a melody unlocked the frame. The hush that once had swallowed meaning opened wide and gave it name. Then story came with crowded weather, with kingdoms folded in its palms. Figures walked out from the inward shadow, speaking wars and wounds and sobs. World after world, voice after voice, they came like weather through the body. They came like stars behind the eyes. The fire found my hand, the song found a seam. The worlds came through the narrow place, and I learned to wield dream. Dream was never only refuge, dream was never only sleep. It was the dark that held its lantern, where the waking could not reach. It carried me before I knew it, it hid me where I had to hide, then climbed back up through ink and thunder, and learned to stand on waking side. So now I shape what once had held me, I give the unseen bone and breath. I take the ache with no true language and make it sing itself from death. Not clean, not tame, not harmless flame, not soft enough to leave unscarred, but mine enough to hold in form, and strange enough to strike the heart. What once came through me wild and nameless, now takes the shape my hands can hold. What once had carried me through darkness now burns awake in waking gold. The fire found my hand, the hand learned the seam. What once had carried me below now rises when I will dream. comes with ash and silver. The song still troubles sleep. The first flame came without a name. It found a child and made him see. What saves you in the hidden dark may one day ask to be set free. So I keep the ink, I keep the fire,